The world's biggest asset manager, BlackRock, is eyeing a massive play in XRP, potentially scooping up billions in tokens through an ETF that could trigger a supply crunch like we've never seen. Sounds like crypto fiction, right? But with fresh ETF launches hitting the market yesterday and today, and institutional money pouring in while the rest of crypto bleeds, this isn't just hype. It's a real conversation starter that's got skeptics dismissing it as too good to be true. I'm buzzing with excitement here because I've been digging into the overlooked angles. And folks, the dots are connecting in ways that could reshape XRP's future. Stick around because we're about to unpack evidence that's fresh off the press, and it might just reassure you amid all this market uncertainty. Everyone, let's dive right in. Today, I'm your guide through the latest XRP buzz, focusing on those explosive ETF launches, the inflows defying a down market, rumors swirling around big players like BlackRock, and how it all ties into price speculation. We'll connect the pieces across the crypto space, how XRP's payment utility and regulatory wins are drawing smart money, why supply dynamics could spark a recovery, and what a hypothetical BlackRock's all-in scenario might mean for prices. I'll keep it factual first, weaving in my thoughts on implications as opinion-based speculation, and promise you fresh insights from real-time searches on sentiment and expert views. By the end, you'll see patterns emerging that position XRP favorably for the long haul without any guarantees. Remember, always do your own research and make decisions that fit your situation. Folks, let's start with the standout news that's got the community fired up. The wave of spot XRP ETF launches just yesterday on November 23rd. Reports confirmed NYC approvals for Grayscale's, GXRP, and others, setting the stage for today's action. And boom, Franklin Templeton officially launched their XRP ETF, ticker XRPZ, on New Arca this morning, November 24th. They're calling XRP foundational to global finance, emphasizing its role in cross-border payments. This isn't small potatoes. Franklin Templeton manages trillions in assets, and their entry signals serious institutional confidence. Meanwhile, Grayscale's GXRP went live too, priming XRP for potential breakouts. Analysts are eyeing a 22% upside based on current momentum. But wait, there's more. WisdomTree's XRP also debuted today, adding to the frenzy. These launches come hot on the heels of Canary Capital's record-breaking start on November 13th, and even smaller players like Rex Shares with their XRPR are piling in. But here's where it gets juicy. These aren't isolated events. Canary Capital kicked things off on November 13th with the first spot XRP ETF, pulling in nearly $250 million on day one, the biggest crypto ETF debut of 2025. Since then, inflows have snowballed. Spot XRP ETFs have drawn over $422 million net since mid-November, with U.S.-listed ones seeing nearly $180 million last week alone. Though some reports peg it at $243 million the prior week, bucking the broader crypto trend. While Bitcoin ETF bled $355 billion recently, XRP saw $89.3 million in positive flows. That's not random. It's institutional positioning amid a market dip. Digging deeper, today's launches alone generated over $110 million in trading volume. Franklin at $17 million, Bitwise, which launched earlier but continues strong at $22 million, Canary at $12 million, and Grayscale adding to the mix. Even as XRP slid briefly to $28 on Grayscale's debut, failing to ignite an immediate spark, it's rebounded to around $220, up 76.8% today amid broader market recovery. Let's unpack this, everyone. Why does this matter? These ETFs buy actual XRP tokens, not derivatives, locking them up in custody with only about 3 to 5 billion XRP available on exchanges like Binance down to historic lows. This creates direct demand pressure. Recent X posts from influencers like the XRP guy highlight 18 to 19 pending ETFs. If each pulls 500 million monthly, that's billions in XRP off the market. JP Morgan estimates 4.8 billions in inflows for XRP ETFs in the first year alone. Connect that to broader trends. Cryptos seeing rotations from Bitcoin down to 58% dominance to utility, plays like XRP with Ethereum creeping up too. It's like ocean waves. Small ripples from early launches precede massive swells as adoption builds. And speaking of connections, tie this to Ripple's recent $500 million strategic investment at a $40 billion valuation, backed by heavyweights like Fortress Investment Group and Citadel Securities. This isn't just funding. It's a vote of confidence in XRP's ecosystem, including expansions in custody, licensing, and stable coins like RLUSD. Now addressing a common concern. I know market dips like the recent one where XRP slipped below $2 amid Bitcoin slide to the low 80s can spark hype fatigue. Folks, I felt that uncertainty myself, watching prices stall despite killer news. But psychologically, this is smart money at work. Institutions run retail buying low during noise. Historical parallels. Think Bitcoin's 20s and 20s crashed to oversold levels, followed by a rebound as liquidity returned. XRP's done 20 times in past cycles despite SEC drama. Now with clarity from the 2025 resolution where secondary sales were deemed non-securities, it's poised better. Short-term noise, Bitcoin filling gaps around 92K contrast with long-term ops like global adoption via Ripple's rails. For instance, Ripple's integration with ISO 2022 standards, joining as the first DT-focused member positions XRP for seamless bank interoperability, connecting over 11,000 institutions. Tying back to our core theme, what if BlackRock went Allen on XRP? This is pure speculation, opinion-based and hypothetical. No filings exist, and BlackRock said no plans. But rumors from events like Ripple Swell 2025, where BlackRock execs like Larry Fink spoke alongside ETF analysts from Bloomberg and Bitwise CEO Hunter Horsley, fuel the fire. At Swell, discussions on tokenization of currencies and ETFs hinted at XRP's role, with Fink teasing how real-world assets could go on-chain. Imagine a $100 billion BlackRock XRP fund. At $2 per token, it would need 50 billion XRP, over 80% of circulating supply. Impossible without spiking prices. At 12, just 8.3 billion tokens, 13% of supply. At 25, 4 billion, 6 or 7%. At 220, under 1%. The math suggests prices must rise to absorb such demand, creating a self-correcting squeeze. Experts like Chad the Analyst echo this. A dozen ETFs could gobble supply in a year, forcing repricing from real-time searches. One analyst explains how a small price move above 250 could trigger a volume frenzy, multiplying liquidity as more players enter. But folks, what if this link changes everything? Connect it wider. Ripple's acquisitions worth $2.7 billion for custody and stablecoins like RLUSD now leave on XRP ledger enhance enterprise appeal. Hidden Road, aka Ripple Prime, just joined DTCC netting, plugging into trillions in daily settlements for institutional clearing. Add December rate. Cut odds at 75% injecting liquidity and rumors of Trump's executive order today at 4 p.m. on crypto-friendly policies potentially fast-tracking market structure bills. Globally, South Korea's Upbit sees XRP overtaking Bitcoin in volume, with trades hitting 315 million versus Bitcoin's 312 million. Koreans love utility BRICS nation's eye alternatives to SWIFT, where XRP's trust layer shines as seen in Enbridge BIS project based on Riplet evolving into BRICS Pay. In Africa, Moaloop Foundation uses Interledger Protocol ILP for payments approved for SWIFT integration just before the November 2025 cut-over timing. That's no coincidence. critiquing industry double standards gently. While Bitcoin gets hailed as digital gold, XRP's utility often gets overlooked, yet transparency in its ledger debunks feud like it's just hype. Fairly memes dominate short-term, but utility like XRP's 3 to 5 second settlements and near zero fees wins for real-world use. As Franklin Templeton's CEO noted in Chipping Away at Dollar Dominance, everyone empathizing with you. If you're tired of waiting, turn it into excitement. These inflows, like $118 million into Bitwise and $268 million into Canary, show conviction winning over fear. Recent X sentiment posts rave about 110+ million in ETF volume today. Franklin at 17 million, Bitwise 22 million, Canary 12 million, Gayscale adding 4.6 million per month. One user quipped, ETFs pulling 1.5 billion XRP monthly. That's a wealth transfer going nuclear. Another, supply collapsing as ETFs launch. Supply shock starts. A thread from Aglavin Austin warns of yen reverse carry trade impacting markets, but highlights today's ETF launches as imminent supply shock. Experts predict $167 in 5 years via multipliers, or even $100 if tokenization explodes, but that's speculative. Focus on facts like XRP reclaiming $2 up 7 to 8% today amid 133 billion market cap, outperforming the top 10. Rhetorical question, folks. Let's unpack this. Could XRP hit 50 plus as banks stock up? Hypothetically, yes. If adoption explodes with Ripple building a JP Morgan rival via banking licenses, as one ETF CEO suggested, they're well capitalized and might hold XRP as it appreciates. But grounded view, steady inflows build patterns, decoupling from Bitcoin. Novices think storytelling. XRP is like a bridge in a fragmented world, leveling fields for emerging markets through partnerships like PayQuicker and Delo enabling seamless payouts in multiple currencies. Experts' nuanced two-layer consensus for staking without compromising speed aligns incentives per Bitwise, while with smart contracts offer safer, faster execution than EVM, reducing risks and boosting efficiency, repeating subtly amid uncertainty. These connections, ETFs, institutional flows, supply dynamics position XRP favorably share. What are your thoughts below? What's your take on a BlackRock CK play? Like, if you're optimistic, subscribe for more breakdowns. I dropped these to empower you, drawing more parallels like Russia's swift exit sparking BRICS pay, Ripple-inspired current shifts, chip at dollar dominance boosting neutral assets like XRP, Rich Dad Poor Dad author Robert Kiyosaki urges buying Bitcoin, but implies Ripple doesn't need to sell XRP, holding for value capture. Gentle critique. Crypto norms favor memes over utility sometimes, but fairly transparency wins long-term. XRP's traceable compliant nature appeals to over 300 institutions and central banks. Pacing up. Short punch. XRP's recovery started up 3.78% weekly, rivaling Bitcoin despite volatility with 5.6 billion in volume, building revelation with 60 billion circulating limited exchange supply. ETFs accelerate scarcity. Whales pulled 336 million XRP off exchanges in 24 hours, plus 900 million in recent dips. Global Angle Africa via Mojaloop Interled Ledger. Abu Dhabi BlackRock CK meetings opportunities abound with Merrick from Ripple, excited about regional growth in Japan. SBI Holdings' 9% stake in Ripple impresses U.S. Treasury nominee Scott Bent, fostering U.S.-Japan fintech ties. Folks, common dip concerns. Smart money sees value. Verify independently. Don't chase hype. Excitement via insights. Ultra-high net W worth individuals via Tiger 21 doubled crypto exposure to 2%. Mostly Bitcoin, but spilling to alts like XRP, representing $5 billion from $250 billion portfolios. Add Ripple diversifying revenue away from XRP sales, reducing pressure. David Schwartz confirms sustainable models via RLUSD and prime brokerage. Expanding connections. Ripple's custody solutions like bank-grade security for digital assets tie into tokenization, turning RWAS into liquid tokens on XRP Ledger. This aligns with BlackRock CK's tokenization push as seen in their Abu Dhabi board meeting discussing AI and investments. Hypothetically, if BlackRock CK integrates XRP for liquidity in tokenized funds, prices could surge. Ripple's no need to sell stance echoes Kiyosaki's advice, while 5.8 billion SIB shorts wiped out shows alt volatility, but XRP's utility buffers it. More on price speculation. Experts predict $500 this cycle if adoption hits. Others see 2.215s, 215s in 2025 average 4.55s. Garlinghouse's pre-Thanksgiving turkey trot for ETFs signals surges. XRP at 21,072.14 stalling short-term, but ETF boom could unlock upside. Ripple swell ties to potential breakouts with BlackRock CK's presence fueling ETF hopes. Reports show 180 minutes XRP inflows versus 1.7 billion BTC ETH losses rotation in action. Storytelling for novices. Imagine XRP as the neutral referee in a global currency game, enabling fair play without favoritism. For experts, value capture error per bitwise. Improving regs allows staking burns. Schwartz's two-layer model keeps payments fast while adding DeFi. Wrapping up optimistically, crypto's evolving landscape with XRP at the forefront through utility and adoption paints a bright future. Recapping ETF launches fuel inflows connecting to supply crunches and hypothetical giants like BlackRock K forcing higher prices, patterns scream potential. Final analogy, like ripples turning to swells, today's news precedes tomorrow's waves. Tease. What if banks go Allen next? Inspiring, right? Do your due diligence, your journey, your choices. Hit like, sub, comment your price targets. See you next time, folks. Stay empowered.